Apple's once again changing the entire game with computing. Before it was the PowerPC, the Intel. Now it's the transition that we've all been waiting for. Intel to Apple Silicon. Ooh, it's gonna be a wild transition. Let me tell you that much. And with this transition, Apple's changed the game. Intel, who? AMD, who? Apple M1? Heck yes. Or is it? Heck yes. Let's talk about this one because this one is actually going to be very, very interesting to see. Also kind of controversial. Let's talk about it now. So first and foremost, I just want to get this out the way. It's been a while since I've been here. It's been almost maybe a month since I last recorded a video, and that was due to because I couldn't record. I had nothing to record with. Plus I had family home, so the house was hecka loud. So recording would have been a really bad thing to do since I don't have any soundproofing in my house, and you could literally hear every single car, every single truck, every single conversation outside my window. That's how bad it is. But enough about my personal struggles. Let's talk about this Apple M1 chip. I know I'm really late to this conversation, but better late than never. Am I right? Am I right? Or am I wrong? I'm right. So the way this video is going to work is I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the who the heck knows. That's probably my favorite part about this whole discussion is the who the heck knows. And the good part though is really going to be good. The bad part is going to be things that could be fixed over time and things that probably will be fixed knowing Apple. Then again, knowing Apple might not ever be fixed. The who the heck knows is something that we just won't know until time goes on. Enough me rambling, let's get into number one of why I believe Apple M1 is the step in the right direction. And that is because of Apple software combined with Apple hardware. Game changer, baby. Why is it a game changer? Because we all know through the history. We have iPads. We have iPhones, which I'm recording on right now. We have the Apple Watch. All three of those things are used in Apple software and for the most part Apple's hardware. Of course, there's some other things that might not be fully Apple, that screens and stuff like to get from like LG or Samsung. But when it comes to the hardware in terms of the chip, those are Apple made chips. And we've seen it with Apple Watch. I believe the W whatever chip is great. It's good. We've seen it with iPads and iPhones. It's great. It's good. And we know that when Apple put the fullest into creating their own processors, going with this software, they know how to utilize what they have. They know how to get the most out of the RAM. They know how to get the most out of the CPU. They know how to get the most out of the graphics. Apple know these things because it's their own stuff. They build these OSs around what they know they're going to put inside their phones. The reason why Big Sur, I haven't used it yet personally, but why it's so good for like these M1 chips is because it was built around it. So the new features is built around the M1 chip and what the M1 could do. And that is why it's going to work fantastic because it's Apple. Once Apple are in the game in terms of what they want to put inside their phones and the devices and what they want to put on the software end, it's going to work out for the most part. With iPads, you have the what they're using now, the A4. Well, right now in the current iPads, it's the A12Z, and with the A12Z on the iPad Pro, the iPad OS works good. You know, I'm not gonna talk about that because that's like a super powerful chip. Let's go to the iPad Air 2, it's our third generation, which is being used on the A14 chip, which is just the base A14 that you see in regular iPhones. The iPad Air 2, or I keep saying 2, but third gen, or is it fourth? I don't know. The new iPad Air that just came out off the A14 chip is marvelous. Like in single core, it beats the latest iPad Pro. Multi-core, of course, is not because the iPad Pro is a more high-end device. But it's just crazy to think about that an A14 chip on the iPad is almost as good as the A12Z on the iPad Pro. And you know why? And why it runs so smooth besides the refresh rate? It's because Apple know what they're doing when it comes to hardware and software combined into one. And that is why M1 is going to be such a revolutionary thing for Apple products. Another big thing about these M1 chips is the power consumption and battery life. I've seen the reports on these new MacBook Pros and MacBook Air and the battery life going 20 plus hours. That is just mind blowing. Like, I'm using the a 16-inch MacBook Pro right now, right? If I'm on a Zoom call, or if I'm watching Netflix or something, listening to music on Spotify, Apple Music, if it's not plugged in and I unplug that bad boy, especially on Zoom, that battery will probably drain to 50% within like the end of the call. That's really bad. That's bad. Maybe just my battery shot, but I don't think it is. I think my battery's pretty good because this is a brand new computer from maybe this past spring. The battery should not be dying that quick, and that is something that is definitely improved upon with these M1 devices. I'm seeing people open the laptop, search the web, go on Safari, go on Chrome, whatever they're doing. Probably not Chrome, because I heard it doesn't work that great. But whatever they're doing, watching videos, editing software, and then maybe at like 80% midday. I could leave my house. Well, when this whole pandemic is over, I could go to school, grad school, leave my house, go to work with a full battery, and probably come home with more than 50%. Now that is what I call good power consumption and good battery life. That's something that we need on every single laptop. I could tell you, anyone who owns a laptop know that in a few years the battery is gonna be shot and it's garbage, or it's already garbage from out the box. We need strong battery life for a laptop because it's a portable device. We don't always want to keep it plugged in all the time. We don't have access to an outlet. If I'm going to Starbucks back in the old days doing some homework, and I don't get one of the tables with an outlet, I'm screwed if I didn't charge my laptop. But with the M1, I'm probably gonna be good for us for like my stay at Starbucks. That is what's gonna be revolutionary about these M1 chips. The third thing on my list, I'm looking at my iPad. I got my notes here inside Scoop. Everything under one chip, one processor. You have RAM, CPU, graphics, whatever else you need, all in one small tiny chip that powers your computer. If that's not revolutionary to you, then what is? The game is changing. The game is changing. The game is changing with these computers. No more, well, you need to go have a Intel i9 Max Core, whatever, with a NVIDIA 3060 in your computer, when eventually, not M1, but eventually, Apple's gonna have the power of a top CPU with a top GPU on one chip. That is gonna come in the future, and at that point, Macs might just be the best place for gaming. I make myself laugh, but we're gonna get somewhere. These M1 chips I heard is like as good as as a NVIDIA 1060, which is a really entry-level based graphics card from a few years ago. But that's good for an integrated chip and integrated graphics. Intel Iris graphics won't reach anywhere near that. Intel integrated graphic cards are garbage. AMD integrated is better because AMD works with graphics, so I get them to pass. But Intel it is whack. And now Apple changed the game, and they're most likely gonna have in the next M2 chip a graphics card that's probably gonna be as good as a mid-range NVIDIA chip. Think about that. Think about that. That is gonna be revolutionary. Keyword, revolutionary. And the biggest thing that I want to talk about that's a good thing for these M1 chips is something that's near and dear to my heart, being this channel is all about base models, right? What this M1 chip means for base models is that base models are going to be as good, if not better than currently right now spec'd models you can buy. We saw the Geekbench scores. The current M1 MacBook 13 Pro beats the spec'd out MacBook 16-inch. If that's not wild, then I don't know what is. That's a base level MacBook. If base level MacBooks could reach the top specs of what a maxed out MacBook could do, a 16-inch, mind you, or iMac Pro, these chips are going to get even stronger when it comes to next generation. When they release the next gen 16-inch and the next gen iMac, that is going to be like it's going to be like mind blowing to see that computers are just going to get even stronger. And it's crazy because iPhones right now with the A14 processor are probably one of the best processors you can ever get on a phone, and it beats any Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. We know that, but what takes it to the next level, I'm going to go back to this again, is software. Apple's going to make a powerful chip, but along with that powerful chip is going to be powerful software that makes it go beyond what we see already with current PCs and Windows. It's going to be crazy. I promise you, it's going to be crazy. Like, I'm so hyped about this because this is revolutionary. ARM processors are the future, in my opinion. Even Windows is working on ARM processors and ARM Macs because they know this is the next step in terms of furthering what computers could do beyond what we already see. So now, why is this bad? And with every good thing comes a really bad thing. Top of my list and talk about why this is bad is this is officially the end of user upgradable components in a Mac computer. That was slowly going away as Apple was slowly taking away their main thing was to upgrade the RAM. So it used to be in old MacBooks you could upgrade your RAM to whatever capacity they'll allow you to. You can also do the same thing with iMacs currently right now and even Mac Minis. That is officially gone. So no more can you upgrade your RAM. No more can upgrade. That's the only thing you can upgrade your RAM or your maybe even can't even upgrade your SSD anymore because those are all soldered in. This is it. You gotta pay Apple ridiculously high prices for more RAM and more storage, and that's gonna suck because obviously they try to premium for their stuff, and if you don't have the money for it right now, you guys gotta wait to buy a spec'd computer that you're gonna need because you can't upgrade this stuff anymore by yourself. And that's gonna be hard for some people to grasp with, because with the base models, you only get 8 gigabytes of RAM now, or at least in these new models. But that's something that I also want to talk about later on in the video. But just to reiterate, no more upgradable spam just means you gotta spend extra money up front instead of waiting to save and upgrade your RAM later on whenever you want to. That's gonna be hard to get by, but that's the future we're heading with all Apple products now. And it sucks. You can't even upgrade your storage on iPhones with the SD card. This is it, man. The only thing about storage is you could have an external drive, and that you get away with, but that's about it. No more upgrading your RAM. Also, a big thing that personally for me is a problem is no more boot camp or virtualization of Windows machines. And that's a big thing for me because I do like to have the option of boot camp in my Mac just in case I do have certain products I need to use or use some parallels, because there are going to be times that you need certain Windows based programs like Access or something else that you need to have on Windows that you're not going to get on Mac at all. And if you need to boot camp your Mac, I just advise you now do not buy an M1 Mac of any sort because you won't be able to, at least not for the next few years until Windows makes their ARM processor. I mean the ARM Windows. And even then, you still don't know if it's going to happen or not, as those are like, we need Intel-based computers for that. So that's definitely a downside, unless you're balling and you can buy a Windows computer on the side. Bro, go ahead. You're balling, do what you gotta do. But if you can't, stick with buying Intel-based Macs for now. Also, looks like there's going to be no eGPU support for now. I personally don't use eGPUs because I can't afford an eGPU. But for those out there who do like to hook up their Macs or Mac Mini or MacBook Air or whatever it is to an eGPU, that is not supported right now, but it will be supported. I would assume it will be supported in the future. So that's something to also just look out for. Just wait on buying first-gen products for right now. And lastly, what things are going to be bad is that the transition will take a while. Apple said within 2 years. I think it'll be at least 5. Not every single program that you use currently on your current Intel-based MacBooks are going to work on M1 unless developers have already transferred that over. You could run them through some translation, which was Rosetta 2, but even at that, it's just a risk that it might not work as well as you want it to. So if you know you have certain programs that you cannot live without on an M1 Mac, just wait. Just wait until you see it upgraded. Or wait to see if people online uses it on Rosetta 2, and if it works good, then you know they should be fine. But the transition to have everything fully go over to Macs is going to be, Apple says 2 years, I'm going to say 5. I'll hold myself to that. If I'm wrong, so it be. If I'm right, I'm balling, baby. Let's go. Now the last part of the video, the unclear. So we talked about the good, talked about the bad, and now it's talking about the unclear part. Because the unclear is we don't know about one thing that I have on my list, and that is the base RAM starts at 8 gigabytes. And the reason I put this in unclear spot is because I was on Mac Rumors on the forums and Reddit. People complaining about 8 gigabytes of RAM is bad. That shouldn't be standard anymore. 16 gigabytes should be the lowest you can buy. I disagree with that, but I haven't used one yet. And the reason I disagree with that is because, once again, going back to my first point in this video, Apple software, well, Apple hardware makes magic. It's a match made in heaven. Apple knows how to utilize RAM management. You see on the iPhones had maybe like 2 gigabytes of RAM for the longest while, and it was fine. It was running good. The newest iPhone 12 Pros, I think maybe have, I don't even want to say 6. It might be 6, maybe 4 or 6, maybe 8. I don't even know. It's definitely not 8. It's like 6 maybe at max. I know the iPad Pro, the latest iPad Pro has 6 gigabytes of RAM, or maybe 8. I digress. It's somewhere around that range, and they run smooth. Apple knows how to manage the RAM well to the point where you need less of it. So I think that's why they started at 8, because they know with 8 you could do so much more than you could have done on the Intel MacBook. But we don't know how far that's going to get you. So say you buy 8 gigabyte RAM MacBook Air today. In 5 years, will that 8 gigabytes of RAM still hold you up well, or will it throttle you in the future? That we don't know. That is unclear. I don't know the answer. No one knows the answer. Time will tell on if the base 8 gigabytes is going to be enough. For phones, it's okay because it's a small device, but for computers, stronger devices, we just don't know how that's going to play out. But hopefully it plays out well. That's what I'm hoping for, because I'm cheap. I like to buy base model stuff, and if I could save money on RAM and storage, so be it. If I can't, that sucks. Quite honestly. Now, thank you for watching this video. I just wish I could get my hands on a M1 processor Max soon. That would be pretty dope if I can, because if I can, then I'll love to show it off to you. Did you just hear that knocking? Hold up 1 second. What was that? What the? Hello? What was there? Wait. What the? What the heck is this?